Okay. Let's go a little deeper into technology and let me explain one of the most revolutionary things that we're introducing this year, and that is a technology that we call INO. This was built by a partner of ours in Belgium, and we actually acquired the technology from them late last year, and we're looking forward to making it available to all of you. I want to explain how it works because it's really important that you understand how different this is from classical ways of finding information in unstructured data. Let's take a simple sentence. This one only has 5 words. What we want to be able to do is understand what are the important concepts in this. And using the INO technology, what we focus on is on identifying what we call the relations, the elements that link different concepts. Because if we can find those in text, then we know that the things that are on either side of them must be concepts. And it turns out that while concepts change rapidly, and there are so many of them that searching for them in any body of text is prohibitive, the number of relations is relatively small, and finding them is easier. Now, I don't mean to say that it's trivial, because it's not. It requires a lot of linguistic engine formulation and foundation in order to make this possible. Those of you fluent in English will realize this example is fraught with ambiguity. The word grounds here, which we read instinctively as humans as a verb, something that acted on the presidential plane, that also is a noun. When you grind coffee, you make coffee grounds. So there's ambiguity here, and we need a linguistic engine that understands different languages and the rules of different languages in order to identify the relations. But once we've found what the relations are, then we know, by deduction, that anything on either side of a relation is a concept. And then we use those concepts to do the analysis that we want to do. What can we do with that? We can do all kinds of things. We can start to navigate documents more intelligently, because as a new document is created, we can examine its content and understand its relationship with other documents. We can do matching, even if the document contents are in different formats. We can do summaries, and this is a really interesting example. If I go back to the publishing case, if we have a story that's been written by a newspaper, and we want to send out on the iPad, when you go to the web page for that paper, you want to have a short summary of all the relevant stories, 2 sentences or so. Traditionally, you'd have another writer or an editor produce those synopses. PCS, the partner that I mentioned earlier on, is doing that automatically. They're using the INO technology to take the reporter's story and generate a 2-sentence summary and send it out. They can do that automatically because we can identify the concepts that are important in the story and produce a summary based on that. What we're doing here, what we're trying to do, is not that new a problem. People have been trying to do this for 3 decades or more. What's different about INO is the way in which we're solving the problem. The old way of solving the problem was to take sentences, break bodies of text up into sentences, and break the sentences up into words, and then have huge dictionaries with statistical models or some sophisticated parsing to try to guess what words belong together. And you've got to not just find out what words might be in there, which is a huge search in and of itself against a vast number of possible words, but then you've got to figure out what what pairs of words or triplets of words go together to make up a concept in this story. Typically what people have been doing to help with that is they've developed what they call an ontology of terms to refine the results and give them some validity. As I said, our approach is very different, and it doesn't suffer from the flaws that the classical approach does. We simply break things up into sentences, and then in each sentence we find what are the relations. And as I said, by definition, relations join concepts, so therefore we immediately know what the concepts are. Now, if you have an ontology, if you have a dictionary of medical terms and related terms, you can use that to refine the results, but you don't need an ontology. And that's really important because in the classic approach, it takes so much work, hundreds of man-years of work, to produce the statistical models, to maintain, to develop and then maintain the ontologies. And as terminology evolves, as new language comes into place, it's really hard to keep these things up to date. And typically, you end up with ontologies and statistical models that are specific to some domain. They're specific to healthcare, or they're specific to financial industry, or the insurance industry, or the auto industry. You don't have generic things. And these are very expensive computations. They take a lot of horsepower to run, and that means you're constantly in the trade-off of trying to do things fast enough or trying to get accurate enough results. What INO offers is we don't need to maintain these ontologies. What we do need to do is we need to understand the linguistic rules of the languages that we support. And so far, we've built these rules for 5 languages, and we are beginning development now on Japanese, Russian, and Portuguese. We already support English, Spanish, French, Dutch, and German. But for us, it's a matter of about 3 months working with linguists to create this set of rules. And once that's done, this is domain independent. It's not specific to healthcare. It's not specific to the auto industry. It can work across different domains, and it's extremely fast. And now we come to what to me is the key example. What we want to do is we bring technology like this to bear. We want to give it to you so that it works at transaction rates. That's what we did when we gave you bitmap indices. That's what we did when we gave you Deep Sea, giving embedded real-time business intelligence. And that's what we're going to give you with INO.